Can you imagine if that was actually the pinnacle of Metallica?
And at
Right?
that
Like
moment for James
1980
Hetfield, it was.
1984, right before Ride the Lightning. Yeah, he probably thought there's no way we'll ever get bigger than this. You
Of
know,
course. How
we
could
got to
they?
release a second album.
I've heard him say on A Year and a Half, and everybody that's watched it, he said, we're 5 or 4 of the luckiest guys that ever lived. We just
Right.
never gave up. This could be you too, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
definitely.
special about us. We're individually, we're not that great of musicians. I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
But collectively, when you put us in a room, something magical happens.
And I believe him to some extent, but he is like
You got to be humble, man.
the best.
He is the
rhythm
best
guitarist
rhythm guitar player for
ever.
that kind of music.
Yep.
Him and Dave, I'll give Dave credit too, because Dave
Yeah.
invented those spider chords that we all still use today, right? Here's how to move quickly from one chord to the next. You know, you just bump your finger up one. Nobody would have thought of that till he did. So I give them both credit.
I think those guys are 1A and 1B.
For sure.
And James kind of focused more on the vocals, and Dave focused more on the intricate and complex riffs. Because,
and I'm going to agree with you there, and I'm also going to say that Metallica focused more on having a little bit of a swing to their music, where it wasn't just because Lars is not a good enough drummer to do what Nick Menza did, right? Nick Menza was a human metronome. Lars plays by the seat of his pants, and love him or hate him, Metallica would not be that band, and they would have never done what they did if anybody else sat behind that drum kit.
Exactly. It's just the chemistry that those 4 guys have together. And, you know, they've been lucky to have it with the guys that came after Cliff Burton. And just, I mean, you don't have metal as it exists without, you know, Sabbath, Metallica, and I'd say Pantera.
No, and I'd use myself and you and Chris as an educated party, because we were those people. We played with people that meant that much to us, and we understand that chemistry. Without him fronting our band, without Scott playing the drums, without, you know, he wants to be called William now. I always want to call him Rick. Without William playing, those 4 guys made that band, right? We were in the same boat. I'm an average to good guitar player at best. I'm not breaking any new ground. I just want to be a good songwriter. That was always my goal, right? I don't really care about playing other people's music. That's not my shtick.
Me either. Yep.
I love writing my own stuff. I love having my own style. And, you know, Chris gives me the compliment. I would have never said this out loud, but basically when we started that band, the whole sound of that part of the valley started to change. It just did.
Right.
When I got there in 1993, the Gin Blossoms were the biggest thing going. They had just played on David Letterman. I love that band. They wrote a lot of great songs, and unfortunately, their guitar player / songwriter was a horrible drug addict or alcoholic or something. I think both, maybe.
Yeah.
And they had to let him go, and after that, they couldn't write another song. He was the vehicle that made that. That's why the Gin Blossoms just
petered out like right away.
I wish I could remember that guy's name.
I remember they had a song on the that 1993 Kiss tribute album. I think they did Christine 16.
You're right.
On that album.
Good memory. Damn.
Thanks. And but no, I'm right. I feel exactly the same way you do when it comes to my own guitar and songwriting. I never really felt the need or even the desire to learn other people's songs.